I gotta get the music right because it is Friday, March 28th. This is the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly with Kyle Mountsier. Today we're talking about tariffs and tax deductions and Fisker.
We're talking about Fisker?
Sure are.
Come on now.
Yeah,
That's a weird one.
Little Fisker action in New York City.
Yes.
Which is pretty applicable. Kind of created my own segue there because I was in New York City yesterday for a private cars.com dealer event. And so let me explain my day. So wake up at 4:15 so I can fly to New York City, fly to Newark Airport, meet with James Orsini, who was the COO of VaynerMedia, and he was the publicly traded, CEO of Cedo Mobile and Saatchi. Right? This guy is in his early 60s.
He's done a couple two-tree things.
He literally just drips with wisdom. It's unbelievable. So we meet, which, by the way, is a great place to meet for breakfast. You fly into the Newark Airport. They got a great little breakfast restaurant there. So we just sat at really, really good. So I'm there, have a great breakfast. We had breakfast at like 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I was like, I'm always curious in a hotel. Let me walk around this place. Let me see what the conference room is, what the meeting rooms are about. Always.
Yeah.
Right. And what do I run into? None other than the Tri-State Regional Mercedes-Benz of America meeting.
Whoa.
So I do the thing. I got to, flash the love people more than you love car shirts. And inevitably I start having conversations. Had a few conversations there. I was really hoping I saw my friend Greg Sioka Sr., but because he's a Mercedes dealer, but he wasn't there. I texted him. I'm so excited. Okay. So then drive to Roslyn, New York, which is an hour and a half New York City time, right?
Okay.
All right, I'm just jerky car ride. I'm car sick because I'm trying to work the whole time, and it's, I get myself together. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into this little place called Hendrick's Tavern. I walk in, nice little place. It's the part of Long Island. It doesn't feel like New York City anymore. You got trees and hills.
Yeah,
and
I know where you're
everything
at.
out there is like nice.
It's great.
Yeah, I passed Brian Benstock along the way. I didn't, but he's out there somewhere. I walk in, and it's at this point it's like 11:30. Meeting from 12 to 2. Say to the hostess, I was like, hey, I'm here for the cars.com meeting. And she just stares at me. She goes, that was yesterday. Oh, I know because I was here.
Heart sunk.
I never in my life. I mean, I forget details from time to time. I have no idea. I confirmed it. That was the date it was on my calendar. And so, of course, I reach out to Juliet at Cars, text her a picture. I'm like, I'm here right now. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, Paul. That's a vibe.
So that is a vibe. That if I knew we were going to talk about this third story, no, I didn't.
Like, I'm saying,
I didn't. I was just when you and I were slacking and we getting work done. I was just sitting in an airport lounge, just waiting for the old flight.
That's the worst.
The good side is I got a lot more work done yesterday than I thought.
You got so much work done. There was no one in the office.
And now you know why.
With James Orsini, you're good. Oh my goodness!
But the cool thing is we're going to be back hosting a panel for them at one of their events before the New York Auto Show and all that. By the way, I don't know if we're going to that. We have to figure that out.
Yeah, I actually was going to ask you about that. We'll talk about that after the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, look, we're going to be together at a thing. It's called ASOTU CON. We're supposed to talk about it now. We're getting inbound from everywhere about ASOTU CON right now. But if you're planning on going, please go get your tickets. Do we have hotel rooms left in the main event hotel?
Just a couple two-tree. Okay. It's getting real tight.
So they might be gone by the end of today. So go to ASOTUCON.com if you're going to get your tickets. They're as cheap as they're going to be. Get them now. Book your hotel room. Be there with us. Let me just tell you, the swag this year is going to be nutso.
Popping.
All right, let's talk about some news. This was yesterday, spilling into today. Still, we have some comments for you from some dealers. Trump's sweeping tariff order is shaking the world. The new 25% levy hits nearly all foreign-built vehicles and key components. Analysts are predicting $4,000 to $12,000 price hikes. Cox Automotive warning that 30% of U.S. vehicle production could be disrupted within 1 week.
Whoa.
That's the crazy part. GM stock fell 9%. Stellantis, it said that 75% of their profits could go away as a result of these tariffs. Even Tesla's not safe. Elon Musk calling the impact significant due to global parts sourcing. So here's what some of our people say. Michael Wood, GM of Jaguar Land Rover in Virginia Beach on LinkedIn said, quote, this will inadvertently heavily impact a brand that never had jobs here in the first place.
Right.
The outcome could be disastrous for those working at these stores. Volumes go down, staff is reduced and displaced. Rob Malinowski, internet director at Ancira Nissan, said on LinkedIn, quote, if you're a car shopper, you will get to choose between paying more for a non-US built vehicle, paying more for a US built vehicle, or deciding you don't really need a car right now. But we'll see a ton of people in group 3. Woo!
Whoa. That's wild. Here's the thing that I still have yet to get the answer on is like vehicles that are already in the States, like that have crossed the import borders. Like, do we get like is that like already produced off of lots, cross the import borders? Like, are they going to go slap those retroactively, or is it like? No,
I have a feeling like it'd be really hard because once that gets through customs and clears, it's like it's in the country at the price. It's in the country
exactly. So the people saying within 1 week kind of surprises me. Now it's going to impact the stuff that is coming in this week, which is going to hit ground stock in
a couple weeks,
3, 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
But that's where like, oh, do you all of a sudden see manufacturers bumping MSRPs like at port, changing those window stickers?
Well, don't they go, what, are they going into effect on what, April 4th?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
your ground stock is probably safe, right? Your port stock is probably already safe.
And every captain of every ship in the water is like, can we get it to go faster?
Can we go faster right now?
I was in New York.
Turn on the jets, bro.
When I landed, I flew over and then later drove by a big, one of the big auto lots there on the border, and I saw, and all I could think of is the tariffs. Little plus 25%.
We're gonna see how it goes.
I know.
Long-term plans have short-term
Trump did.
impacts.
It's not in the show notes, but he did mention leniency,
right,
in the thing, and I think most analysts think that the leniency is most likely going to be geared towards our northern and southern neighbors.
Yep, that's right.
Probably at this point, probably Mexico over Canada, because they like to spat it out right now.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a thing.
It really is a thing. Speaking of a thing.
Stop.
It's tax season. Did you notice it was tax season?
I have noticed that. Everybody's talking about it.
I know. President Trump did propose a tax deduction for interest paid on loans for cars. Yay. But only for vehicles made in America. The idea, announced alongside that 25% tariff on imported vehicles, has drawn some mixed reactions from dealers and analysts alike. Dealers are split. They say it could help consumers, while others doubt its feasibility. Like, how are we going to make all this work? Like, how are you going to track it back? It sounds like an admin nightmare. Analysts say the deduction could save buyers around $20 a month, but tariffs could add $60 to $90 to payments. So used car prices, could even rise 9 to 12% due to the increased demand for domestic models. White House Speaker and Speaker Johnson's office have yet to confirm details, including whether the deduction applies to standard tax filers. Probably not if you're on the standard deduction. Ford dealer Nick Anderson said, quote, I think it's Trump's way of trying to regulate interest rates, calling it a pipe dream. Trump argues the policy will pay for itself by increasing U.S. auto production.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is an effort to increase U.S. auto production. We talked about yesterday, Hyundai, Kia, Genesis already leaning into that, having been leaned into that in the last few years. It's like they saw something coming. This is, I kind of said this as we were segueing here, is, short-term changes may have long-term impact, but they have a significant short-term, or long-term changes have short-term impact. Yes. And that's the question of like, how impactful is this going to be? Can you imagine short-term, right? The tax professional being like, send me your VIN, hits the VIN API, sees what the vehicle actually is.
I can imagine it. They
pulls it up on the list, and then now how you get your like mortgage statement every single year. You're gonna need to have all those banks are gonna have to send you a vehicle interest statement every single year.
I forgot, right? The old 1098 or whatever. Like it is.
Yeah, like you're gonna have a 1098 before it's gonna be like 1090.
But it's going to be a lot less than your real estate interest.
Way less. Yeah. Like I can't even imagine, like you definitely have to be in a place where you are, pulling out the Schedule A, doing itemized deductions for something like this, because it's not a significant amount whatsoever.
No, $20. I mean, again, to your point, like I think it's just trying to really just point everything back to, if we like increase U.S. manufacturing and create good paying jobs, it kind of everything else comes along, GDP go, like all of it. But without a doubt, the biggest question is like, what's the patience that people have for it?
Yeah.
Right. Consumers are getting squeezed. And unfortunately, the consumers who are having the hardest time making the payments are getting squeezed, or It's going to be a wild one.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like think about like, well, U.S. cars, domestics are more expensive. Oh, used cars are going to get more expensive. It's going to, you know.
Paul, speaking of having a hard time making payments.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
I mean, these cars weren't very expensive originally.
If you didn't know, Fisker did not make their payments. They went bankrupt. But what happens to thousands of Fisker Oceans after the company goes bankrupt? We covered this story about a year ago, but the full turnaround is now there. In New York City, they are hitting the streets as Uber and Lyft rides thanks to a fleet operator with a vision and a Bronx repair shop.
I remember this story.
Roadworthy.
I remember when they bought them.
Yeah. They bought them. Yeah. So American Lease bought these cars, a little over 3,000 Fisker Oceans for $42.5 million. Definitely a steep discount.
It's 13 grand a piece.
Yeah, exactly. New York City mandates all Uber and Lyft rides be EV or wheelchair accessible by 2030. So this company's way ahead. BHP Service Center in the Bronx is now the go-to repair shop for these orphaned EVs. Think about the retention on that, man. Shop owner Ronnie is already stockpiling parts, purchasing wreck vehicles, and even making molds for body panels. This guy's got 3,000 cars in the shop every single year, no matter what. Come on.
I kind of imagine, you know, when you see like the Matrix and how everyone, like in the real world, everyone's kind of like dressed in like the natural sackcloth fabric, and they have all this high tech computer stuff around. Like, I feel like there's a guy in that shop.
That's that guy.
That's like sitting like the operator, and he's making sure that they don't brick. Right? He's writing the software to make sure that those cars can keep, like, you know, he's like the crazy coffee guy in Syracuse, but
That's
for
exactly
Fisker,
what he's
but
like.
for Fisker
Yeah.
Oceans.
Yeah. He's like cash only, you know.
But they're renting them out for like $400 a month to Uber drivers. So if you think about that, I mean, it's like, well, I mean, at $400 a month, you're thinking like it's the car will be paid off in 2 years. I mean, you're still putting that was a big bet.
It's a bet.
It's a
They're
bet.
gonna be fine.
I
It's a
wish
smart bet.
I wish I was
think
paying
it's a smart
attention. That's a
bet.
lot of cars.
That's gonna
3,000?
pencil.
3,000? As long as they can keep from bricking, though, they're in good shape.
There you go.
Wouldn't that be something? I know. That's just the funness of the story in the
Fun
city
Fridays
and the industry.
Fun Fridays.
Fun Fridays. Listen, thank you so much, especially to all of those who were with us for our 1,000th episode. This is now the Automotive State of the Union podcast. I'm Paul Daly. It's Kyle Mountsier. We'll see you tomorrow.